Well, good morning, man. It's June the 29th. So we turn to the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, for God's daily dose of wisdom. And as I was reading through Proverbs 29, verses 26 and 27 jumped off the page, and they read like this. Many seek the ruler's favor, but justice for man comes from the Lord. An unjust man is abominable to the righteous, and he who is upright in the way is abominable to the wicked. All right, that seems pretty straightforward. Let's dig a little deeper. So what does it mean when he says many seek the ruler's favor? Well, that word favor is actually in the original Hebrew translated as face. So we talked about this once before, where you're seeking the face of God or you're seeking the face of the king. It means that he's paying particular close attention to you in that particular moment. It's for seeking gifts or a favorable ruling or some other favor or gift from the king. And many people do this. Many people will go to people of influence and power and they will seek their favor. So that's pretty straightforward. What about an unjust man? What is he talking about there when he says an unjust man is abominable to the righteous? Well, an unjust man, unjust, the original Hebrew, is the word awel. It's any act or deed against what is right. So any action or word contrary to the nature of God would be considered unjust. Okay? Well, why do I say that it's anything that is opposed to the character of God or against the nature of God? Well, listen to these words out of Deuteronomy chapter 32, verses 3 and 4. The author writes, "For I proclaim the name of the Lord. Ascribe greatness to our God, the rock. His work is perfect, for all his ways are just. A God of faithfulness and without injustice. Righteous and upright is he." That's a song that Moses wrote that's found in the book of Deuteronomy. And notice what he says. He says, "I proclaim the name of the Lord." The name of an individual was very, very important back in the Old Testament. It describes their character. So Jacob, for example, his name means supplanter or heel grabber. And when God changes the character of an individual, he changes their name at the same time. For example, Abram became Abraham and Jacob became Israel. So an unjust man is abominable to the righteous. What does that word abominable mean? I mean, when I hear the word abominable, my mind goes to Christmas time and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, where they're talking about the abominable snowman. What does that mean? What does that word mean? Well, abominable means someone or something regarded with disgust, loathing, and hatred. They're really gross. And injustice and those who practice injustice are therefore loathsome in God's eyes. As we get closer and closer to the day of the Lord, injustice will increase. Likewise, he who is upright in the way is abominable to the wicked. So the wicked, as injustice increases, will turn more and more hatred and disgust and loathing against all things pertaining to God and his people. Are we seeing that? Are we seeing an increase in injustice in our land? Are we seeing an increase in the hatred of all things pertaining to God and his people? Well, what's the solution? Well, the solution is actually found in Proverbs 29 in the last part of verse 26, where we read, "Justice for man comes from the Lord." We can't take justice into our own hands. We can't force justice upon the land. We can't force evil people to become just, because God's plan is in place. So what do we do? Well, listen to these verses out of Psalm 121. "I will lift up my eyes to the mountains. From where shall my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not allow your foot to slip. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade on your right hand. The sun will not smite you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will protect you from all evil. He will keep your soul. The Lord will guard your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forever. You might say, well, hang on a second, Ken. I mean, that psalm is a wonderful psalm and it's very comforting and all, but we do see a lot of injustice in the land. We see a lot of hatred towards the things of God and his people. The psalm is nice, but what do we do? Well, there was a gathering of cowboys and their families, and they invited the pastor over to this get together, and the pastor asked the owner of the ranch, he was a cowboy, he says, would you say the blessing for the meal? And the rancher says, okay. Everybody closed their eyes, and the rancher started out with this: Lord, you know I hate buttermilk. Pastor opened one eye and he's looking at the guy and wondering, okay, where's this going? And the cowboy said, and Lord, you know that I hate lard. And I'm not really fond of raw flour either. But when they're all mixed together and they're put into the oven, I sure do love those warm biscuits. And Lord, when my life is all mixed up with things that I hate, help me to trust in your timing, because I'm really looking forward to warm biscuits. My brothers and sisters, I love each and every one of you. We need to trust in the Lord with all our heart and not lean on our own understanding. We need to acknowledge him in all of our ways so that he can make our path straight. He's got this. As much as the injustice is increasing in the land, and as much as the hatred towards God and all things pertaining to God is increasing, the Lord's got this. He doesn't sleep or slumber. He does not allow the sun to smite us. Eventually, all the scales will be balanced. Eventually, justice will rule and reign in the land. We just need to trust in his timing. I love each and every one of you. And I pray that you go out and you make a difference in someone's life today. God bless you.